So recently, someone in the comments section has been getting very vocal about how much he wants me to review Cybertron Megatron, and then he got very adamant when I did not review the toy. As I continued to not review the toy, he got very demanding and very rude about it, and recently started dropping F-bombs, all because I wasn't reviewing a particular Megatron toy. So, we're going to review a Megatron toy. As you can see by which one, I don't respond well to rude people. Now, we're going with this one because a lot of very nice people wanted me to review this back when I reviewed the Deluxe Classics Megatron, but I'll do you one better. Instead of just the Classics version, we're doing the Henkei, because this was something special. Now, this was an acquisition back in BotCon 2010. Actually, this was gifted from Sean Long. I have not talked to that group of guys in a long time. It's kind of my own fault. I'm not the best when it comes to social situations, but I have appreciated it ever since, and this has been my go-to Megatron toy for anything Megatron, really. As you can see, it is the same mold as the Classics toy, but without any of the safety colors. No bright neon purple and green, certainly no flare orange. This is straight up Megatron black, silver, and red. Though it still looks like the Nerf N-Strike gun. I don't know. I was never into Nerf. I've been told it looks like a Maverick, and I'm sure it does. I'm sure someone knows. Probably someone in the comments, because I just mentioned something I don't know. That means it always appears in the comments. But just as a completely unbiased non-Nerf guy, I like the design. It's got a nice heavy blaster feel, it's very futuristic, but it keeps enough of the classic design elements and still looks enough like a normal gun to get it across that this is definitely an upgraded Megatron. It looks exceptional. There's a lot of little details I like. I actually do like the translucent plastic here for the barrel. It's actually all translucent plastic. It's just been painted over very, very heavily. But I like that the tumbler here is kept intact, or at least the translucent parts are allowed to show through. Lets it stand out from the details a lot. As you can see, it's not a perfectly round tumbler, but yeah, we'll go with it. It works for the most part. I do like how heavily detailed this is. Now, if you noticed, this is not the only time Takara released this toy. It also came out in the United toy line in a much more G1 cartoon accurate color scheme. Almost all silver, a lot of the red was removed. Does not look nearly as detailed as this, and I actually much prefer this. Because of the futuristic design, I think all these red lines everywhere really work into that and make it pop as some kind of space gun from the future. As you can tell, again, there is absolutely no flare orange cap, solid gray molded. You can actually tell the difference in the plastic color between the black and the gray, where the plastic was originally molded in orange. No barrel shown. Well, that's kind of a weird thing of the molding, but for the most part, all the other gun parts are here. Trigger, of course, the finger guard, and the hammer here in the back, which does not function. What I do like, though, and you probably heard it earlier, little clicker. That's completely unnecessary, but they put it in anyway, which not only gives you a little bit of effect when you actually pull the trigger, but springs the trigger back into position. That's pretty much the only thing this toy has in the way of gimmick. Since it's a Classics toy, the gimmick is it turns into a freaking robot, people. How much more do you need? If you do need a little bit more, however, there are a few small touches. I mean, if you look down the scope, you actually can't, well, you obviously can't because it's just way too dark here. I don't have a laser pointer on me. It actually does shine through, and you can actually see out the other end. There is a target reticle molded in, though everything going through it is rather fuzzy, as plastic is not the best lens. So you got a target reticle, good luck actually getting something in it. Aside from that, nothing much to talk about. It's a good roleplay gun, and it's just the right size. In my hand, it's just a little bit small, so a kid holding this, it'd be just a little bit big, and pretty much a good medium between the two to make sure fans young and old alike can enjoy the toy. And there's other little details I could point out. The chrome here for the Decepticon symbols on both sides. When you get to robot mode, you will see the Henkei trait of random chrome. I'll also point out no faction sticker. There's no rub symbol, but the molding square for it is still there, assuring you that yes, this is the Classics toy. So, all of that aside, let's get to transforming him, and herein lies the dark secret of this Classics toy as I split open what is actually... Oh, hang on. You are ruining my dramatic reveal, because all this is stuck. There's clasps inside and pegs holding all of this in, so it's very secure. But it's also a shell former. All of it is shell, and this is just going to go to his back, which is kind of weird. And if you've never seen this toy, if you've never seen the inside of this toy, I want you to take a look at this. That's going to turn into a robot. I know if you've never experienced this toy before, this doesn't look like a lot. This looks like a scrap heap, but I assure you, we are going to get a robot out of this somehow, some way. I don't know who at Takara designed this, but someone had to have some kind of like degree in physics to know that all this was going to fit in the allotted space. And as kind of a result of this, transforming it's always been a little bit of a messy issue for me, because it's almost like a giant puzzle cube of a toy. I'm going to start here with the right arm just to get that out of the way so you can kind of see where the robot starts to come from. This will end up being the torso. We flip that around, click that shoulder in, rotate all the way around. That creates the forearm, and then we unfold the fist, like so. We'll go ahead and clip all of that together and create the torso. Now, we get all of this out. The kneecap is pegged in, so you have to disengage that first. Then, all of this can go to the back. This rotates around. Hang on. Man, this... Yeah, remember when I said that this is a little bit funky? Yeah, it kind of is. So it all folds up like this. Trigger to the back. That forms the big wing pack. From here, we can finally straighten out the legs. Shins go up. Create the look of the leg. And now we take the feet out, which hopefully you have fingernails for. I actually do this time. So these come out rather simply on the little grooves and little bumps they leave for you. And then simply flip up the head, like so. We will adjust the wings a little bit. And that gives us our Henkei Megatron in full robot mode, looking very much the Decepticon leader of legend, looking quite good. He is full-size Voyager in the old school size of Voyager, and quite G1 Megatron-y. Now, of course, we'll start with the head, and you can see it is obviously Megatron. It's the classic bucket head look. They've done a lot of extra paint detail around the brow. A little bit of black scooping up. Gives him a much meaner look. I kind of approve of this change. It's nothing too distracting. It's still obviously him, but it just gives him a little bit of an edge to his head design. That's good. You can also start to see where the chrome starts working in. The Decepticon symbol is not chromed in the robot mode, unlike the gun mode, but his big chest is. Also chromed, the kneecaps. No, I don't know why either. They chrome the kneecaps. That's the way Henkei rolls. If it made sense, it wouldn't be Henkei. Now, to get this a little bit more correct, we can adjust that arm so that you can see both hands pointing in the correct direction. That does put the cannon on the underside of his forearm. This is incorrect to normal depictions of Megatron. There is no way to adjust this. You are stuck with it. I don't mind it so much. I mean, considering how he transforms, I'm amazed it ended up on his arm at all. So, we'll just go with it. This might be a case where I might have preferred a little bit of part forming, just so I can move it over here, but anyway, this way it is still nice and secure, at least. I'll give him this, because his wide leg stance, thanks to his ratchets, this really doesn't become an issue as far as weight goes. He's actually quite stable left to right. Where he's not so stable is back, because of course so much of his gun mode is hanging off of his back in this giant wing pack. Now, the weird thing is, on the North American release, this is all translucent green plastic. So when you see all the gray and purple for the robot mode, the green kind of just stands in the background doing nothing. It looks like more or less like Energon wings, or just like energy wings he unfurled or something, and it actually sets the robot apart. Here, being the same color, it's harder to remove the robot from the rest of the kibble, so visually, he does look a little bit messier. It's kind of weird, because you'd think it would blend in, but you think blending in would be better. In this case, I don't think so, because you can like visually tell it's a part of the same toy. And it's not like an extra piece, it's just shell. So that's a detriment to the design. One of the things I do like about the shell, though, is how the tabs and clips actually fold up to clean him up. That's a little bit of unnecessary detailing that actually does quite a bit of good. Now, again, he has no actual gimmick, so all he really has left is detail, which you can see he is lavishly painted all over. A lot more red in the appropriate spots, and a little bit of yellow here and there, as well as on the side of his legs, where a little bit more yellow, a little bit more red was revealed when we pulled that panel up. So this is all in the correct spots for G1 toy and cartoon-wise. It's just a lot more lavish, and I actually really like that. Megatron is not the most colorful character in the Transformer cast, so all this extra red line and goodness I actually approve of. I still don't know why the kneecaps are chrome. That is strange to me. So as long as we're talking about knees, let's get to articulation. The head is fully ball jointed. Not a lot of up and down because he is so wide-headed, but all range and motion and rotation, so that works. Listen to that. Oh, that's the sound of sturdiness. Universal shoulders ratcheted both ways. Oh, the elbow. Oh, doesn't that sound so good? And the elbow goes beyond 90 degrees here, so he's got a lot going for him. This is why he's actually so stable in a lot of poses, because of those heavy ratchets. The only thing not ratcheted in his arms are the bicep rotation. That's quite good. No waist articulation. That's a downer, but no surprise with the transformation. And again, not quite as stiff, but you've got ratchets in the legs as well. Oh, and the ratchets in the knees. So really the neck and the biceps are the only articulation that does not have these lovely ratchet joints. Oh, and he does have a thigh swivel too, but it's just gravy on top of it at that point. So he's got plenty of posability to him. The one detriment to that posability, like I said, is his wings do make him pretty back heavy, so luckily these hinges on the feet, on the heel spurs, are actually tight enough to compensate for that. Or at least mine are. Your mileage may vary. Hope for the best, and, maybe it will all work out for you. So he actually does have a great time getting into poses. The only downside is getting him into classic looks like this with his fusion cannon ready to blast forward. You do very much notice that his hand is upside down. That's kind of a detriment to the toy. But, what are you going to do? So that's pretty much the only downside I can actually put on it. Well, okay. So let's just kind of give you the whole roundabout here. So yes, this can't move to the side of his arm, that's correct, and he has these big shells for wing pack. If I'm going to put anything else against him, I think the ratchet hips are just a tiny bit too wide. I mean, that's completely personal preference. I mean, they're not 45-degree hips. Those are like the worst. Like scientifically proven, 45-degree ratchets are the worst. It's backed up. I've seen the papers. Trust me on this. But beyond that, he's quite excellent. He was a great toy for his time, and I don't think he has aged too badly, all things considered. He's still very nice and solid. The transformation obviously is very interesting, though getting him back into that little scrap heap of a form is a little bit daunting sometimes. But he works out very nice as a toy. And if you've got a Generations collection going right now, I think he's still the definitive Megatron for it. It's just too bad. You're probably never going to see this again unless Takara decides to make another version with even less red and more silver, because it's not legal to sell this in the US anymore under any color scheme. At least that's according to the last word Hasbro had on the toy. So if you ever wondered why it's so expensive on eBay, there you go. But these days, in the days of like super hollow and mushroom pegs and fewer ratchet joints, I think this guy still holds up very, very nicely and might be worth it to you. Depending on the release, there's a bunch of them now.
Wow.